Ben Shapiro has some choice words for Jon Stewart over his Israel-Iran horrible take that Israel is somehow the bad guy here. And just check out what he has to say.
Jon Stewart turned politics from let's have a discussion into what if I play a clip out of context and then go, huh? And half of our political conversation is now that. Just making funny faces at pieces of clips. So I got editors too, and they can do stuff in edit. But on this show, we try to actually talk through the issues. Jon Stewart, if you asked him to simply fill in the names of the countries in the Middle East, you gave him a map and it just had borders and it didn't have names, and you asked him to fill in any of those countries, there is no chance in hell he knows what he's talking about. None. In any case, Jon Stewart, he says that what President Trump is doing is just terrible. Here we go.
But what happened with Iran? Weren't we about to make a nuclear deal? Wasn't our deal maker in chief making a deal to keep Iran from enriching uranium? Actually, didn't we have a deal before our deal maker in chief so wisely pulled us from that deal? Why did this have to go balmy on Iran now?
And by next spring, at most by next summer, at current enrichment rates, they will have finished the medium enrichment and move on to the final stage.
There
Iran
it is.
is months away from having a nuclear bomb, it says Netanyahu, in 2012.
Okay, pause it there. He's a moron. You know what happened after 2012? Here's what happened after 2012. The Stuxnet virus. Israel somehow got the Iranian scientists to load into their own centrifuges a computer virus that effectively lied to them about the output of the centrifuges, and it held back development for several years. Israel also had a...
Yeah, I want to pause it there because this debunks all of the claims from the right. They're posting clips of Netanyahu saying, 10, 15 years ago, Iran is about to have a nuclear weapon. Iran is on the final stage. Iran is close to having a nuclear weapon. You understand that this isn't the first time Israel's been targeting Iranian nuclear weapons. They've been doing this for the past few decades. They've been stopping Iran from getting nuclear weapons in countless operations. This isn't the first operation in where they're trying to target Iran's nuclear sites. This is a very, very long process in which Israel has been, slowing down the program, but still not stopping it completely.
Consistent way of blowing up Iranian nuclear scientists. They would mysteriously die in Iran, like over and over and over again. Israel was consistently performing below the radar operations in order to keep the Iranian nuclear program in check. That was a thing that was happening consistently. What changed? What changed is that Iran started to break out this year. That's what the intelligence was suggesting. Not mine. The IAEA, not Netanyahu's, the IAEA, Jon Stewart's beloved International Atomic Energy Agency. They said that Iran was breaking out and racing. You want to know why the G7 hates Israel? The G7, you're talking about France and England. You think that the G7 is fond of Israel? The J7 is like, you know what? Netanyahu's not wrong. They're developing a bomb. But according to Jon Stewart knows better because after all, he makes funny faces into a camera.
By the way, did Iran happen to get that bomb from a company called Acme?
So now we're just bringing back jokes from 2012. Nobody made that joke ever.
Will it be delivered to Israel on rocket-powered skates? Will it go off in a tumultuous meep?
Wow, Roadrunner jokes.
Seriously, why did we have to bomb Iran now?
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
Holy that's why. Iran's only weeks away from having an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs, says Netanyahu. In 2015.
Well, yes, again, consistent efforts by the Israelis kept Iran from going nuclear. And then Iran decided that they were going to break out of that over the course of the last couple of years in particular. They decided that now was the moment. There's contemporaneous reporting on this from the New York Times, from the Wall Street Journal. But apparently, timelines don't exist and events don't exist in the world of Jon Stewart.
And by the way, just take them at their word. Yesterday, an Iranian state account on Twitter posted a video of an AI of a guy stroking a nuclear bomb or a fake nuclear bomb or whatever. It's like they say it. They say that they're trying to get a nuclear bomb. They say that they're trying to destroy Israel. They have a clock in Tehran literally showing the destruction of the state of Israel. They have a clock, a literal clock counting down the days to the end of the Zionist entity. And so, maybe you don't want to believe them, but we didn't believe Hamas either. And, this is what happened October 7th. I'm going to skip ahead. He just does a little bit of ads.
Action against Iran, and that the U.S. is not involved in strikes.
We're not involved. That's good. That's good.
The U.S. says it was informed beforehand.
Oh, funny faces. There they are.
We were informed. They let us know. Still not being involved, really.
President Trump acknowledged yesterday that he was aware of the Israeli operation, and he gave it a green light.
Oh! They don't know what they're talking about. We were told, we approved. It's still Israel's game.
Israel used American equipment during its initial strikes against Iran.
What the are we doing?
Well, hold up a second. Of course. So first of course Israel used American equipment. What do you think Israel is forced to buy under terms of contract with the United States? The United States gives $3 billion in aid a year to Israel. Israel doesn't just spend that $3 billion in military aid in the United States by contract. They have to. They then spend another tens of billions of dollars in their own military budget on U.S.-made military equipment. You think there's F-35? Who else manufactures F-35s? Quick show of hands. Anybody? No one. The only party on planet Earth that manufactures F-35s in the form that they currently are is the United States. So yes, you know who else has military equipment from the United States? Turkey, Saudi Arabia. Half the countries on Earth have some military equipment. Ukraine. There are plenty of countries that have... What an idiot he is. Seriously, what? The fact that people take commentary from people like Jon Stewart, professional comedian, as though they are some sort of holy writ. This man was such a big part of making our politics so much dumber. So much dumber. But don't worry, our politics can always get even dumber than that. One of the things that is talked about very frequently these days is how dare the United States get involved in the politics of Iran? And the last time the United States got involved in the politics of Iran is when we toppled the leader Mossadegh, when we toppled this wonderful, politically democratically elected leader, Mossadegh, back in 1953. Okay, there's only one problem with that. That's not actually what happened. Mohammad Mossadegh was never elected. That is not the way the system even worked in 1953. There's this whole alternative history of Iran that has now been written based on a bunch of sort of self-congratulatory books by figures who were tangentially involved. But Peter Thoreau has a great piece of tablet from March 2023 talking about what actually happened in Iran. And the answer what happened in Iran is that Mohammad Mossadegh was the appointed prime minister, appointed by, wait for it, the Shah, and then approved by the parliament. And then parliament wanted to get rid of him, and the Shah finally decided to get rid of him. And in a democratic procedure, they decided to get rid of him, and he resisted, and then there was a quote-unquote coup. That's what actually happened. Yes, the United States and Great Britain wanted that to happen because Mossadegh had also attempted to nationalize all of the oil fields and all of the oil drilling in Iran. But this bizarre idea that we must never, ever, ever be involved in Iran in any way. Forget about deposing Ayatollah Khomeini. We shouldn't bomb Fordo. We shouldn't give Israel weaponry. Because of what happened in 1953 in Iran. I can give you an example of what happens when the United States does not get involved in Iran. That'd be the 1979 Iranian Revolution, where the Ayatollahs took over from the Shah. Have things been better or worse since then in Iran? Everybody continues to operate under a series of bad historical analogies. Every war is Iraq. Every intervention is the deposition of a democratically elected foreign leader, even if that's not even what happened in the first place. I will note, by the way, that the Shah was a significantly better ally to us than Mossadegh would have been. He would have allied with the communist Soviet Union at the time. But again, bad history is the ally of people who don't like reality. Well, that's all for...
Very true. And a lot of people are ignoring the fact that when Trump took out Qasem Soleimani, everybody congratulated him. Great job, America. The Republicans were going crazy. They were loving it. Trump is the hitman. Trump is the greatest. And now we have a bunch of little pussies. Literal. little cowards. They're scared. They don't want to get involved in anything. Anything that remotely involves America and the United States is terrible. America shouldn't get involved at all, ever, regardless of whether it is in our interest or not in our interest. Anything that's outside of our borders, we should just not get involved in. That is the new position of the isolationists. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what it's based on logically, but it's not based in reality because, again, America has military bases all over the place, allies, big time, even military conflict they're still involved in. Ukraine, obviously Israel, Gaza, all this. They're involved. They're going to be involved. And the United States, as the number one biggest army military in the world, most advanced by far, spends the most on defense by far, they're going to use that technology and that defense in one way or another. And the idea that America is just going to not get involved at all is completely a fantasy. And the idea that America never helped or never had a good regime change is also a fantasy. Japan, Germany, the Soviet Union, they've done a lot of good, and that gets glossed over by the Iraqs and the Afghanistans and a lot of the other things that America has done very recently. For more, subscribe to the channel. If you want to support us, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored. You can also go to our channel memberships page and join there as well. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.